Oh, I know. Right. All right, the time is 7 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Pulaski.
Here.
Trustee Della Penna.
Here.
Trustee Domke.
Here.
Trustee Forsythe.
Here.
Lisa. Here. Trustee Perkowski.
Here.
Trustee Trejo.
Here. We have a quorum. We'll move on to presentation of the prepared agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Seeing none, that motion carries. Next, I'd like to invite up our fire chief for the swearing in of our new battalion chief, Mike Neville.
Thank you, Mayor. This is truly the best part of my job, is being able to introduce our newest member of the Roselle Fire Department. So Mike, if you could please come up. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce our newest battalion chief, Mike Neville. Mike comes to us from the Hinsdale Fire Department, where Mike served for over 21 years. Mike recently retired from Hinsdale at the rank of captain. Mike has an extensive fire service background with multiple fire service certifications and a master's degree in organizational management. Mike also provides us with a background in fire inspection services, as he has worked with the Lombard Fire Department since 2019 as a part-time fire inspector. Mike brings with him an extensive amount of education and, more importantly, fire service experience. I look forward to what Mike has to offer and share with our organization. Mike is joined this evening by his wife, Jane, and his two daughters, Leah and Lexi. So if you could please welcoming me, Mike, to the Roselle family. And if I could ask the mayor to swear Mike into his new position as battalion chief.
Probably done this a number of times. All right, if you repeat it, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mike Neville,
Having been appointed to the position of battalion chief
having been appointed to the position of battalion chief
in the village of Roselle,
in the village of Roselle,
the counties of DuPage and Cook,
the counties of DuPage and Cook,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of battalion chief
of battalion chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations and welcome. Well, welcome to the department. We're always excited to have new additions, and for the family, we take great pride in funding our departments well, so we have the right equipment and the right training to make sure that he comes home every night to you guys safely. So we'll do our best to keep that promise. So thank you for joining our family, and thank you for sharing with us. Continuing on with our agenda, we have an opportunity for Village Board public comment. And if you guys want to take your party elsewhere to celebrate our fire friends, and we're not offended, I will say. Like true people in uniform, you wait to be dismissed. But we do have an opportunity for Village Board public comment. Anyone wishing to provide a comment on a topic or an agenda item may address the Village Board in person during the public comment and public hearing segments of the Village Board agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The village also adopted the Illinois Municipal League Civility Pledge, which states, "In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we may each have different ideas for achieving that objective." With that said, Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment submitted in advance?
One in advance from Cindy Rabando.
If you wouldn't mind just coming to the podium and just stating your name into the microphone.
My name is Cindy Rabando.
Could you get closer to the?
Oh, a little bit closer. That way everyone at home can hear you too.
Taller. Can you hear me?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Cindy Rabando. I live on Banbury Court. A complaint was issued at the meeting on March 10th for 3 houses on Banbury Court having delineator markers. The reasons for this complaint, they stated that people were having a hard time parking and having a hard time backing out of driveways. So I sent pictures from my end of cars that are always parked there. There's never an issue. And the driveway right across from where my delineators were, the people were very happy that they were there, so they didn't end up in the ditch. I sent pictures of many other homes in Roselle that have all different types of things. There's rocks, there's delineators, there's flags, there's metal posts, there's all sorts of things. We're using the thin fluorescent flexible ones. And our cul-de-sac does not have a light, so it's very, very dark at night. And those delineators are a huge, huge help. Sorry about my little drawing, but it's you come in off of Orchard and it makes this turn. My house is right here. So a lot of the trucks, garbage trucks and the snow plows, everybody has to do a 4 or a 5-point turn to make it out of this circle, out of this cul-de-sac. So each November, Public Works installs delineators in front of my house all along here so that the tow trucks and vehicles don't end up in the ditch. So we're kind of confused. We didn't see an ordinance on anything. Can't find one. Taking pictures of cars that park out there with no issue. As you know, if the street is here, and the parkway's here, you can't put a delineator on the street. There's no way. It's a good foot in, so people can still park. There's not an issue. So we're kind of confused as to why we needed to remove them.
So if you don't mind, can you provide your contact information to staff over here? Our code enforcement department can get in touch and better explain the specific situation there and whatnot. So we usually do, though, if there's an issue, they can kind of explain the why behind the citation on that. But because it was brought to our attention, that's kind of why, we're not picking on you guys, but because it was a resident made a complaint about it, that's why we went and looked. But if you give us your contact information, we can happily.
We just want to make sure that if we can't have them, then no one can have them. It's got to be equal throughout the village.
Absolutely. No,
Thank you
so much.
Did we go to look at that area when, after that meeting? Someone go over there and look?
Correct. So I'll give it to our community development manager to discuss anything.
Our code enforcement officer has actually spoken to Cindy twice, I think, right after the meeting, and it kind of explained why the delineators were removed, because they're in the public right of way. We confirmed with Public Works that we hadn't placed them there. So we did remove them. We notified all the residents that we were removing them before we did. So we can't, this was on a case-by-case basis. So based on reporting an address, a resident came to a previous board meeting and reported a specific address. That's how we discovered the location. We don't have the capacity to patrol all the streets for delineators in the right-of-way. But we've instructed our employees that if they see them to report, and we can contact employees from there. Or, I mean, residents from there, sorry. So you can have them at the corners of your driveway. That's very common for snow removal purposes and landscaping. But the ones that were located along the entire length of the street, that's what's not permitted.
I would say if there's additional comments, we should probably take that conversation outside, just so that way we can keep things moving along. I think it's an important conversation to have, but absolutely. Madam Clerk, do we have any other comments submitted in advance? Do we have any members of the public here tonight that wish to address the board? If you wouldn't mind just coming to the podium and stating your name for the record, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Lawrence Ponk, 661 Walnut Oaks Drive, Roselle, Illinois. Jason, did you have an opportunity to share with the trustees and the mayor my email that I had sent to you? Did you have an opportunity to see the email I had sent to Jason with regards to, I'm here to discuss Springbrook Creek? I know, Wayne, again, the ongoing saga. So again, I recognize I only have several minutes to speak. And basically what I'm looking for, once again, is guidance. Situation is becoming more grave. Erosion is the big issue now. It used to be flooding back in the day, but as I stated in my email, back in 2011, culvert work was done on Walnut Street. The good news is the flooding issue has been greatly minimized. The bad news is the erosion issue has exponentially grown much, much worse. Probably it was about 10 years ago, Wayne, you had come out to my house and former trustee Barbara Hochstadt was there. Former Mayor Gail Smolinski came to my house, saw already the issue with erosion along the creek. And basically, in a nutshell, when the creek is heading east, it's pounding into the embankment along a wooded area just south of the creek. I'm not really certain if it belongs to DuPage County, if it belongs to Charlemagne Court, but I would say that, you know, if you look at the photographs that I shared with the trustees, I would say probably in the last 10 years, I've lost or witnessed at least anywhere from 10 to 20 feet of land has been lost. One of the photographs in particular, you'll see that there's a fence that's in the creek now, and you'll see little green tape that was set up by Charlemagne Court. That fence used to be 20 feet in. Now it's in the creek itself. I'm not touching the fence. It's not my property. In addition is barbed wire, and my concern again is eventually after a heavy rain or two, it's going to eventually flow down the creek. It's going to cause some damage, potentially hurting wildlife. So in a nutshell, I guess there's a couple of points I would make is one, what exactly, or let me rephrase that. Who exactly is responsible in terms of creek mitigation? Who is responsible for creek restoration? Is it the village of Roselle? Is it DuPage County? Is it DuPage County Forest Preserve? Is it the homeowners? And I think that as a homeowner, admittingly, I'm frustrated because this has been an ongoing saga that's going on 15 years now. And I've watched the problem exponentially grow worse and worse. And, you know, sometimes I'm told that it's my responsibility as a homeowner. Then I'm told not to do anything because I've tried to reach out and said, listen, I'm a retired school teacher. I would love to be able to keep myself active again. I'm a former socialist teacher. I said I would be willing to research. I'm willing to work with whether it's Congressman Krishna Murthy, Seth Lewis, and so on. But again, I guess I'm just looking for some guidance in terms of what we need to do and not just talk. The time has come for action because the longer we wait, my concern is going to be that we're going to see increasingly more and more erosion, more trees. We've already lost a couple of trees that have fallen into the creek. There is a potential then, every time a tree falls into the creek, there's going to be potential for flooding. And then the finger pointing starts. We had an issue back when Jeff Odell was the village manager in which a tree fell across the creek onto my property. And the question was, who was responsible for it? Was it Public Works? Was it Charlemagne Court? Was it me? And ultimately, both Jeff Odell and Pat Watkins came out and they determined it was actually Charlemagne Court. And after much consternation, the tree was removed, but the reality is I potentially see anywhere from 4 to 6 more trees eventually falling into the creek. So that's one. So again, who's responsible? What do we need to do to remedy the situation? And then secondly, as I stated in my email, I did some research and there have been some works in DuPage County, some projects, let me rephrase that, in terms of creek restoration and mitigation. There was a project with regards with the DuPage River that flows parallel along with Morton Arboretum. There's another Springbrook Creek that flows through St. James Forest Preserve. I believe that's in Warrenville. That was a two-phase project that was done, and they're going to be starting on a project on Klein Creek in West Chicago. So there is precedence in terms of creek restoration, and I would like to see Springbrook Creek and Roselle be added to that list. So again, I'm looking to all the trustees, I'm looking to mayor, I'm willing to help in any way I possibly can. The situation, again, is grave. It's going to get worse. I guess the big thing, too, is I just want to avoid the finger pointing in terms of who's responsible for it. I want the problem simply resolved. So thank you again for your time, and I look forward to hearing your responses.
Thank you so much. So I can give you at least 2 answers here tonight, and I'm going to put you to work because you did offer to help. We've got you on the record and on the tape, so hopefully you
That's
can
okay. I'm retired now.
So I'd say the first thing is, no 2 creeks are the same. And so it depends on how the land is platted and, divvied up. And so in this case, that portion of the creek is privately within the bounds of private property. So it is something that is on the private property owners, but in this case, it's very complicated. There's an HOA and there's a bunch of individual property owners. So if one person mitigates their part of the creek but not the others, that's going to create tension and issues. So
Right.
one thing that, I've talked about with staff is we would like to host a community meeting with those that are willing to show up from the HOA and the individual property owners so we can discuss this in a broader setting, because ultimately it's going to take collective action of all of the neighbors and the HOA to address this appropriately. The other thing, though, is DuPage County Stormwater does have a seat at the table because it's their regulations we have to follow. It's their permitting we're gonna have to go through for some of this stuff. So that's where there's some tension, where there's private property issues, but there's also another entity that has the kind of regulatory final say on it, so to speak. And so I think the big thing is, before we even know what we have to do, it's going to be an engineering study. Unfortunately, we do a lot of engineering studies and they're very expensive. And so I think that's where we need to kind of discuss as a group what's going to be the best thing to go forward with. As far as 3 goes, until we do studies, it's kind of hard to know if we could qualify for funding, because a lot of them want to know what the issue is, and being that it's a awkward ownership issue in this state, issue here specifically, I can't really comment on 3, but we would love your support and help. I think we have had good conversations and know how to get in touch with the HOA. Obviously, with the other side of it being a lot of different individual property owners, if you could help and assist us in making contact and getting commitments of them to meet with us, that'd be fantastic. But we've got your information, so we will follow up about when we were planning to schedule that meeting, so that way we can make sure that we can have a productive conversation with everyone. But that's something we're hoping to do this year. So.
Because I know that, again, as I stated in the email, there was apparently, I moved into my current home back in 2004, and apparently there was some work done actively by some of the homeowners on Walnut Oaks Drive, and Carol Pankow, I believe was a state rep at the time. She had secured funding, and it's been very nebulous in terms of what happened, but I was told by the homeowners when I moved in, the funding was already set up to do creek restoration, mitigation, and then for whatever reasons, the funding never followed through. So there, as I said, there has been precedent set in terms of, work to be done on Springbrook Creek. I just don't want this to continue to drag on when it really, again, as I stated earlier, exponentially gets much, much worse.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You have a good evening. Thank you.
But because Tom referenced me one time, it is true that we went out there and there was a time when we thought we could throw some concrete there to stop the erosion and the flooding,
Yep.
at time the flooding. But then we heard that the DNR would not allow us to work on waterways, so then we kind of froze in our place.
Right.
And then later, to your point, We did open up that culvert there that goes under the street, under Foster. That improved the flow and kind of took away the flooding issue. And to this point in time, Tom, I thought you were okay until we got onto your memo that we got. I thought it was a solved situation, but I think one thing that I think our mayor can provide at least now is possibly some closure to this where you know what you have to do.
Right.
We'll hope for that. So we'll be in touch about next steps, but first thing is we got to meet with all the people that are involved so we can make sure that there's some alignment as far as what expectations are.
Just one other final comment. One of the unique things of my particular neighborhood, Walnut Oaks Drive, we don't officially have an HOA. Charlemagne Circle does.
Makes this incredibly challenging.
Yes, exactly. So, you have on the south side of the creek, you have an HOA. On the north side of the creek, we self-police, basically.
Isn't that the most erosion is on the south side?
Yes, yes.
Where it's turning, right?
That's right. So when you watch the creek as it flows east, and when, again, you get a heavy rain event, it's pounding into the embankment. As you see those photographs that I shared with you, I mean, that's literally eroded, I would say 20 feet easily since then you and Mayor and Barbara had come out at that point. So thank you again for your time. Didn't mean to take up much time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Is there any other members of the public here that wish to address the board at this time? If you wouldn't mind, just approach the podium and state your name for the record.
My name's Mike Kreis. I'm here because I was watching the news last week and they had a story about somebody with water in their yard and it sounded a lot like my situation. I have a neighbor that elevated himself with concrete patios. There's a shed out there. People have added additions. Over the course of the years, water builds up. We listened to the Village of Roselle. They told us to put in a French drain. We did that. I don't think it did anything. The neighbor put in a pipe. I don't think that did anything. And I just want to find out if there's anything that was violated with codes, with permits. I have talked to an attorney in passing and they looked at it. I don't speak that language, but it seems like there's something wrong there.
So I don't know or could speak to specific property issues, but if you could give us your contact information with staff over here on the side, then we'd be happy to talk to you, and we can get you some more information. Thank you. Is there any other members of the public that wish to ask a question at this time? Make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to officials and staff reports. Under mine, I'm happy and pleased to invite the Roselle Sister Cities Association German Committee to give a brief presentation about Lotz in Germany, which we've had some exciting developments on. So it's like Sister Cities Visitation Month, I guess, so to speak. So
thank you. Short, isn't it? Thank you, Mayor and Board, for entertaining us. We have some good news after quite some time working with our sister city of Lotzen in Germany. I'm Jerry Smiley. I'm the chair of the committee. With me is Sandra Martin, who's the vice chair. We've got a couple of our members here. There they are, who've worked very hard to make this happen. Roselle has a really rich German history. Those of you who've been here a long time probably are aware of that. Our founder, Roselle Huff, was in fact a German American from Chicago. There's many German families here, street names after Germans. I mean, this really is a German city. Excuse me. In October of 2019, we had a meeting, the first meeting of the Roselle Sister City German Committee at Trinity Lutheran. It was an attempt to find a German city that would be willing to partner with us. We wanted to do things like matching demographics of our city with a city there, ideally a city near a major metropolitan area, that type of thing. As part of that work, Pastor Mueller from Trinity said that he felt a large number of our ancestors came from the Bremen, Hanover area. I've done some work myself on the German history of Roselle. It's not quite that solid, but nonetheless, we've chosen a city that is near Hanover and Bremen. Sandra Martin heard about our initiative and joined the German committee. As luck would have it, Sandra is from the town of Lotzen and has a brother living there and began our relationship with them. Sister Cities International told us that working with two foreign countries, primarily France and Germany, would be difficult. And I can assure you after 4 years, well, as I call it, we dated 1 year, we were engaged for 4 years, and we're finally getting married. Excuse me. Along the way, we had some folks from Lotson come here. I think several of you have met with them, which was great. We have also been to Lotson. Sandra was the first one to go. I went, and Isabella with us has also gone to meet with the mayor. Let's see what else. I've gotten off track here. We've done things, we have monthly Zoom calls with them. So we're constantly in connection with them, and we're really enjoying this relationship. And turn it over to my coach, my vice chair.
Yeah, so we had
Get closer to the microphone.
and then in 2022, we had established a Friendship City. Our Laatzen counterpart attempted multiple times to get village approval. It needs to be approved by the city council in Laatzen. Each time the subject of a sister city partnership arose, and the Laatzen Village Council tabled the topic, usually without rationale, but we did not take that for the final answer, and we persevered. We sent representatives, myself, Isabella, and Jerry, to Laatzen for meetings with the mayor. And our efforts finally came to fruition. On Thursday, February 27th, 2025, the Laatzen City Council finally voted to accept twinning, a partnership sister city with Roselle. And that is very exciting news. And the family that hosted the Laatzen visit to Roselle in 2022 was Tom and Karen Ostrander. And the rest of the hardworking RSCA German Committee members are Patty Matucci, Nicole Krause, Tom Troicke, Dan Ghetto, Ron Feldman, Jana Crowley, Sandra Rosenbaum, Wayne Damke. And then special shout out to former associate members Sarah Bruno, Laura Treskin, Matt Dexbury, Johannes and Laura Haugemann. And with the approval of the mayor and our board of village trustees, we can develop the final document required to make everything official. So that's why we're here today.
Thank you so much. Any questions from the board?
Great.
Consent to move forward to have something on an upcoming agenda to officially approve our twinning? All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I know it's a lot of hard work. It's all volunteer work, so people take that for granted. And I think it's really exciting to see this pay off and come together, and just in time for us to celebrate Bachfest, right? It's a great reason to celebrate. So we'll work to get this on an upcoming agenda, and we'll make sure that you guys are aware when that will happen, so that you guys can publicize it and share that with our soon-to-be sister city in Germany. So thank you so much. That's all I have under my report tonight. Is there any village trustees that have a report?
Bachfest is coming, David. You know, speaking of the Germans, the Bachfest is coming 26th of April. And we've officially asked the village to be a part of that, and hopefully all the trustees can march in it. Only half a mile. If I can make it, you can make it.
It's the first and shortest parade of Roselle, so thank you so much. Any other trustee reports tonight? Seeing none, do we have a village clerk report?
Yes, we've got Rain Barrel pre-sales open. You can go to greenroselle.org, and under their events, you can see the Rain Barrel pre-sales link. The pickup will be right ahead of the Bachfest event at 40 South Prospect Street. So order your Rain Barrel and come on by.
Thank you so much. Village attorney?
No report.
Village administrator? Treasurer's report for February. Tom,
He's got a report.
welcome.
Now we get exciting, right? This is excitement. Budget.
It's important,
Yeah.
that's for
It
sure.
is important, especially now. So in the packet tonight in the agenda is the, bring this down, the February Treasurers Report. Again, I'm kind of showing the top 6 budgeted revenues in the general fund. First is property tax, where we got a little more than we got in January, but Cook County property tax bills went out in February, I believe. It's hard to remember now. And we started to get a trickle, about $158,000, $159,000 in property tax from Cook County. sales tax that we received in February was from November sales and was a 2.8% decrease over the prior year. We're continuing to see sales tax kind of tamp down a bit as we get into the end of the year. State income tax was about $342,000, a 1.1% decrease from 2024. Ambulance billing, again, one of our largest revenues, $104,000. Local use tax was again for November collections. That was about $74,000 and a 9.8% decrease from 2023. And then finally, the natural gas tax. This was the first month for 2025. And it was $93,800. So that was for January usage in town. So we're starting to get that come in. Of course, January was very, very cold and a lot of therms were used. So we did see a good return. About 17% of our budget is represented there. Some notes to the top 10 food and beverage retailers. Again, they're now a mix of restaurants and retailers, notably Linford and Montrose Market. And those top 10 account for less than 50% of the tax, which is different than it was before. The top 10 was closer to 55, 57%. So now, as we said, when we were going through this, we broadened the base. And so the top 10 are now producing less. So we're not relying on as many of these restaurants and retailers to bring in the food and beverage tax. And then on Friday, we closed the books on 2024 and handed those over to the auditors. They started the audit today. The general fund in 2024 is $1,665,000 expenditures over revenues. And again, as I mentioned a couple times, we booked the recording of the Trinity property with just over 1.5 million as an expense because we had purchased that property. We held it as land for resale, and then the library passed the referendum, and so now we're in the agreement with them. So we had to book that as an expenditure. Had that not happened when we closed our books, the general fund would be $155,000, about $156,000 expenditures over revenues, or about $267,000 difference from our budget. So we were close, but we were down. Again, we've got a couple of revenues, notably sales tax, that fell below expectations. Sales tax is about $388,000 below budget, and ambulance billing is about $445,000. That was a finance director mistake in calculating the budget, but mainly it's due to sales tax and a couple of our larger taxes just coming in at the end of the year lower than we expected. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions for Tom tonight? Not seeing any tonight. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll continue on with our agenda to unfinished business. First, we have the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, non-controversial in nature, and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless removed from the consent agenda. Are there any items removed from the consent agenda tonight? Record show none. Moving on, we have presentation approval of the village board minutes of January 27th, 2025 and March 10th, 2025. We have the approval and release of executive session minutes as listed from 1967 all the way through 2025. Approve and hold executive session minutes from November 11th, 2024 and February 10th, 2025. Adopt a resolution amending an agreement by and between Bedson USA and the Village of Roselle. Pass an ordinance adopting the 2025 Village of Roselle official zoning map. Adopt a resolution accepting the Goodrich Terrace water main extension public improvement. Adopt a resolution accepting the Medina Irving water main and sewer main extension public improvement. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, we have a roll call when you're ready.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Della Penna.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye. That motion carries. We'll move on to development and engineering services. Trustee Prokowski.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor Plesky. I'd like to move passage of an ordinance granting a zoning map amendment, variation, and special use for the property commonly known as 415 East Maple Avenue, Roselle, Illinois.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Moving on to item 10B, I'd like to move adoption of a resolution approving a plat of consolidation for the property commonly referred to as 415 East Maple Avenue, Roselle, Illinois.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Okay, moving on to item 10C, I'd like to move passage of an ordinance granting a special use permit for property commonly known as 1300 to 1326 West Lake Street, Roselle, Illinois.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Okay, moving on to item 10D, I'd like to move adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a local public agency engineering services agreement for the Irving Park Road pedestrian bridge final design engineering services between the Village of Roselle and Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited in the amount of $238,627.00.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Record show none. Roll call, please.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Moving on to item 10E, I'd like to move adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a joint funding agreement for the Irving Park Road pedestrian bridge final design engineering services between the Village of Roselle and the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
That is all I have, Mayor Plesky.
Thank you. We have nothing under administration, fire, police, but public works. Trustee Trejo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for the 2025 landscape management services between the Village of Roselle and Uno Mas Landscaping, the amount of $126,750.00.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for the 2025 landscape management services between the Village of Roselle and Brightview in the amount of $53,022.00.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Make a motion to pass an ordinance to declare surplus certain personal property of the Village of Roselle.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move on to finance. Trustee Forsythe.
Thank you, Mayor Pileski. I would like to move approval of the accounts payable list for March 24th, 2025 in the amount of $1,342,227.99.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
That motion carries.
And I would like to move passage of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024 budget for the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA Fund, Insurance Fund, Police Pension Fund, and Firefighters Pension Fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Lanisa.
Aye.
Trustee Prokowski.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
That motion carries.
And that is all I have for tonight.
Thank you. We'll carry on to new business. Provide direction to staff regarding the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation for PZ 231113 Jet Bright Car Wash. I'll have our Community Development Manager, Karen Bricks, presenting.
All right, so back at the May 4th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing, we held the public hearing for JetBrite to be located at basically an L-shaped property that's the former Fit RX. I think it's like currently Halloween Party City something, and the old Chili Pub site on Nergy Road, so Roselle and Nergy. They applied back in 2023, and we've been working through the site plan and engineering and stormwater until we were ready to go to the public hearing. We had 4 residential neighbors and 2 commercial neighbors who spoke during the public hearing. I included a link to the meeting video on YouTube in the packet. They were generally against having, I would say, probably anything there, and then had several issues about the car wash itself. But the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval unanimously of the projects, 7-0. But there were several conditions that were also unanimous that they were attaching to the project. So the overall requests include an annexation. One of the properties is currently unincorporated. Zoning map amendment of that unincorporated property upon annexation into the B4 General Business District. There are wall sign variations, lighting or variations, and landscaping and loading zone variations. I would say the proposed conditions, the first one is the sound abatement fence along the eastern property line. So it's something that staff had recommended in the staff report, and the Planning and Zoning Commission agreed and also said that it should be a sound abatement fence, not just a privacy fence. JetBrite has submitted, which I included in tonight's packet, Simtech fencing, which is, you kind of see it along like the toll road and things like that for noise abatement. They've also recommended limiting the music being played in the vacuum area to a certain time period, but did not specify the specific time period. And then finally, they unanimously recommended a write-in, write-out only onto Roselle Road. In response to that, JetBrite had their traffic consultant prepare sort of a memorandum and some additional plans showing how they would block off the left turn out of the site onto Roselle Road during high traffic times. Staff kind of evaluated, myself, Kristen, and Matt Rasmussen all kind of took a look and decided that we concurred with Plan Commission's recommendation just due to the size of the exit itself. It's only 14 feet wide, so you can't fit 2 cars next to each other. And JetBrite is requesting the full 3/4 access. So I would say based on that, that's the main sort of issue for discussion.
Is there any questions or comments from the board regarding the conversation that happened in planning and zoning or the proposal in the packet today?
I actually went to that meeting. It was a lovely 2 hours long, not knowing it was gonna be 2 hours. Staff did a great job and P and Z board did a great job on vetting all these different things. And I thought came to a very reasonable accommodation to both sides and how that was gonna work, including the no left turn. If JetBrite wants to have a left turn out of there, I would tend to vote against that. I don't think that's feasible and it's probably not safe in that area.
Other comments, or Tom?
I agree with trustee Della Penna. The left turn out of there is kind of a sticking point. It doesn't seem like there's a way you're going to make that work. Even if they cut it off, try to cut it off during certain hours, that's never going to really be a time unless you're washing your car in the middle of the night where that's going to be an open turn. So that's kind of a sticking point for me.
Yep, Wayne?
Just one thing too is, looks like when you got to put out cones on anticipation of increased traffic, that's kind of ambiguous how that's going to work out to stop people from making a left turn. So I really think it's a little too busy at that corner the way it seems. And I wouldn't be in favor of it right now, the way it is.
That was one question that I had seen the cone placement. I guess from an enforcement perspective, how do we feel like we would be able to ensure that that was set up that way? As a driver, I'll admit, since we've only got deputy chief of police back there, that I do not always abide by a sign from time to time if it's more convenient for me as a driver to turn the way I'm not supposed to go. I guess I'm just, if they're not like delineators like we use for quiet zones and things like that, like I guess I'm worried about the impermanence of safety cones, frankly. Just my personal opinions. I don't know what staff's opinion is on the cones.
Yeah, there's really no way for the village to enforce that. Mostly because it's on private property. Also, code enforcement isn't here on Saturdays and Sundays, which are usually pretty popular days for car washes. So we would rely on public safety officials to review that as well. And I think, they may have more important things.
You'd almost have to curb that so they couldn't make a left turn anyway, because otherwise someone even's gonna do it on their own.
Tom, P.
Yeah, I mean, I agree again with trustee Della Penna. I mean, we see that on our other major roads too. Even when you have the kind of in-out only with the little triangle, people will still go to, and then just turn left. And they do that on, say, Lake Street out of, those businesses. And Lake Street is not going to be nearly as busy as basically right next to the on-off ramps of an expressway. So I don't really know how that's going to work. I mean, you already are seeing issues with the other car wash on Lake Street having their ingress egress issues. So I really don't know how this is going to function that well.
I think for specific questions, I forgot to mention the architect and then representative from JetBrite are also here.
Got it. Other comments or questions from the board?
Is the exit coming out onto Roselle Road or onto Nervy?
The one in discussion is the one on Roselle Road. The one on Nergy is full access approved by both the village and the highway department.
But traffic can circulate both ways. So you could turn in to it from Roselle Road and hypothetically swing a right past all the, what I assume are vacuum bays, and you could turn out Nergy. You could also come in from Nergy and try to cross the entrance and the exit for the car wash to get to you have to cross the exit for the car wash as well as the entrance from Rosa Road to get to the entrance to the car wash itself. So.
I am in agreement with the other trustees that just spoke. I think it would be hard to limit people making a left out of there, and I think that's a concern.
Do we want, I guess, since you guys are here, can you address some of those, the proposed layout of that and, there's been curbs or other kind of more permanent delineators suggested, like, could you just speak to that element of it, I suppose?
Certainly can. We have the. My name is Christian Kolashevsky. I'm from WT Group. 2675 Paradum Avenue in Hoffman Estates. And with me is David D'Alessandro, owner of JetBrite. First of all, this is not, as you know, JetBrite's first car wash. And as we look at the site plan, one of the most important things for JetBrite is they don't want to do anything that would hurt themselves. They want to be safe and they want to be convenient. Those are the two items that will make an express style car wash successful. And they have various sites in which they do that, in which they do the very thing that we are proposing. And that is to delineate the traffic flow on site. And if we can just, it's been a long meeting, if we could just click to the colored site plan, please, right there. And the pointer. Okay. All right. So at the end, is it all right if I just walk to the screen and?
We won't be able to hear you then, unfortunately. So it's I know it's Sophie's choice here. Either you can show it clearly or you can be heard clearly. So.
Okay. All right. So at the exit end of the car wash, which is the left-hand side of this demonstration, you have an option of going right back to the vacuums or going left towards the exit at Roselle Road. Again, the Roselle Road is under Cook County's jurisdiction. It's been submitted to them. The head of the Cook County Department of Transportation has reviewed this and has given us verbal approval, and we're waiting for the final written approval. What we are showing is a 3/4 access, and we have another exhibit 2 slides down, but we'll stay here for a moment. What will happen, and I'm just going to go over there to point to you and then come back. Those in the public listening, what I pointed to was the exit of the car wash and the cones curving up and to the left. And this is done in sites in Addison, Aurora, and other sites that David could attest to. This is done for the very purpose of not hurting themselves in their terms of their business. If you make it unsafe, if you make it inconvenient, that is a detriment to a express style car wash. And so with that, that has been done. There's history to prove that it's done. And quite frankly, Roselle Road has a low traffic count for 90% of the time. Also, our business is low volume for 90 to 95% of the operating hours. And then what happens? We get those snow days on Thursday and salt is everywhere on Friday. And then we have people that have free time to wash their cars on Saturday. We have a full staff on this site. We have the person helping loading the cars, person by the pay stations to move cars through. And then we also have person directing the traffic around the site. And so we are very cognizant of that traffic flow. And we're obviously aware of when it snowed and when it's salted and when it's going to be a busy day. We put extra staff on. We put not only the cones out there to limit that, but the person is standing right there to direct the traffic. And we also turn up the speed on the belt so that it goes for 1 car per minute through the tunnel itself. Your stacking requirement is 15 cars. We have 36 cars stacking outside of the car wash and 6 cars in the car wash. So we have a total of 42 per your 15 required. So we're almost 3 times the amount of stacking. And then even we have definitely taken measures to show that what JetBrite says they do. And you can see the history of it, and you can talk to the people in Addison and Aurora and the other communities that David could tell you that what they say they're going to do, they do. And it's quite frankly for their own benefit business-wise. And again, the traffic in the peak periods are the morning on Monday through Friday and the evening going home rush. What is the peak period for the car? It's at noon. So you're taking a concern that really will not exist for 90 to 95% of the time of the business. This business already has taken a proverbial nail in the coffin in terms of not allowing left turns into this site. So you've got customers coming from the north, customers coming from the south, east, and west. Roughly, the traffic volume is very close on both roads. We've already cut off 25% of our customers because people, when they go and they realize they can't make a left there, they're not going to turn around and come all the way back up to Nervy. They're going to go to the next express style car wash.
So if I could just stop you there for a moment. So the diagram we have shows no cones providing the flow that you're now talking about, controlling the exit. So I just want to make sure I understand correctly, because what I have shows a diagram that would not allow essentially would bifurcate the intake to it. So there's 3 lanes to
Yeah,
move into it. What you're
here's-
proposing now is that you'd also have cones, so that way, if you're exiting, you would have to go down Nergy then to
Yes.
the exit, correct?
That's what this slide exhibit is showing, the cones that I showed when I walked over there. We're proposing if the statement about there's only one lane, left and right, if you like, we can make a left and a right. This configures to the Cook County diagram of a 3/4 curb cut. And so this is one proposal, or we can remain as we are, and then we would put the cones as we show right there. So the traffic does go up to Nergy. Again, 5% of the time, if that.
Well,
We're
I think though, that's the only I will say is that, and you've said it a couple times, that we have to worry about that 5%, because I'll tell you, I was stuck in traffic on Lake Street outside the Addison location on a Sunday at 4 PM because there's 2 Addison police cars directing traffic into the Jet right there. So those are things that are a concern to us, because then those are our resources that are being directed to help make sure the business is able to function without being an operational problem for the community. So I was stuck on Lake Street for like 20 minutes. Granted, it was a salty day. I get it, right? To your point. But if that's something, we have to think about this unique site and what that could do. Because if we have to pull public safety officials away from doing their job to help direct traffic because it's creating that much demand, then this isn't a good site for that, right? So I think totally respect the fact that this is a 5% peak business time, but that has real implications on the resources the community is going to have to allocate to making sure your business is successful. So that's just one
And
thing I
if-
just want to
If
throw
that
out.
really becomes a true concern, you'll see the dotted cones on the Roselle Road side there, where we have done this at one location, where we have closed the entrance and exit totally, driving traffic to Nergy. And then if we could just go back slides, please. And I'm just going to show a path and then make a comment. I pointed to the curb cut at Roselle Road, that would be totally closed off, would cause traffic to go into Nergy and then come down the long vertical and come around the building, which would be an extreme amount of stacking, and that would be guaranteeing no backup on the public roads.
Any further questions or comments from the board? Lee?
Just a quick question. So yeah, I share the same concern as you did because the diagram in the traffic study has the cones in a different spot than what you had just mentioned. But the other question I have is, and this is probably for the police, but how many incidents do we have at Lake Street with the Jet Bright that's over there? Do we have any, like a lot of accidents and issues over there, or is it pretty clear over there from that perspective?
We have had accidents as a direct result of people entering or exiting that, but without looking up the numbers, I couldn't give you an exact figure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little hesitant on the left turn on Roselle Road, to be honest. I mean, I think the cones are, I mean, definitely the location that you're talking about now would be a lot better than what's in the traffic study, because I feel like, to the mayor's point, I feel like those are easily disregarded when they're right by the entrance and exit there. In terms of the other things that we talked about, I mean, I think the fence would be fine, like the soundproof Simtech. And then I think 7 PM for the music, turning off the music would be fine. But I do have concerns about the left turn onto Roselle Road.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
1 second, if you don't mind.
I have one question. Of all the Jet Brights that you own, do you have any on the corner of two major roads? Or are you usually positioning them in the middle of a block? 'Cause this is two major roads. You're right in the intersection area of two major roads in our area.
Yeah, yes, but it's not the corner. You know, we don't have the hard corner.
You're within the scope of where people will be getting into left turn lanes from those roads.
Yeah, we have many locations that are close to the intersection like that, where the left turn lanes impede with what we're doing, and that's not unusual. We certainly have locations that have a much more difficult traffic situation than this location. We consider this location pretty good. But yeah, right, the giant left turn lane on Roselle Road, going toward Nergy, is the reason why the county denied us a left in on Roselle Road, and it was a big blow. I could tell you, we have never gone forward with a project when we've been denied the left in this situation. So we are going out on a limb, we're taking a very big chance. But before I even go there, do you have another comment before I can?
No, not
Okay.
really, other than the cone thing is just too ambiguous. What if you don't put them out one day and then it's going left?
We understand it, but I could tell you, first of all, let me thank you for allowing me to be here today. We love this village. We had such a great experience with building our first wash here. And I want to thank staff twice, both for the first wash we built that opened in 2020, as well as here. They've been terrific both times around. And I can tell you, we deal with a lot of villages, so I don't say that lightly in that regard. But one of the things that's been really great about the Village of Roselle is they've listened to our concerns on their first project and through the process now, and did their best to work with us and resolve issues. And we have certainly feel that we have a strong track record with Roselle and the other cities for listening to your concerns and mitigating every possible thing that can make this not a good thing for the residents or unsafe in any way. We listen intently. We spare no expense, and I think the staff could attest to that, you know, we need to build a 13-foot wall or a 12-foot wall, we'll do it. We need to build a first-class building, we'll do it. We need to fill the property with landscaping and make sure that landscaping is still alive and looks brand new 10 years after it opens. We've proven that we do that. We have a tremendous track record for doing what we're saying to do. Mitigating traffic during the course of our operation is not something that, let's remind the employees they have to do that today. That is something that is done at every one of our locations, day in, day out. It is instilled into the grain of our entire management staff. Okay, they know every day we cut off that left turn going out because it clogs up people coming out of the car wash, and we know how to get, on those 5% of days when we're that busy, we want to get these cars off the lot as quickly and easily as possible. So we shut off that left out at every one of our locations on every single busy day or busy time. Sometimes it's just part of a day. Okay, we don't want it, doesn't work for us. But the idea that we won't do it or that the cones won't work, that has been proven wrong. And we have proven that at every one of our locations every single day. And every city that we work with can attest to that, including the Village of Roselle. We don't allow people coming out of there when we're busy or the left turn starts to back up or starts to be busy. It's not in our best interest. So we ask that, if you look at the existing site, we've maintained that perfectly. We've staffed that in a time when it's hard to staff things with good, well-trained employees. Our landscaping looks brand new. Our building looks brand new. Our parking lot's already been resurfaced once. We do what we say we're going to do, and we're asking little trust in us that we've done that. This is not an inexpensive project anymore. Look, when we built our first car wash, and the first new building we built was 2009, the cost then to what it is now is almost quadrupled, 400% more than what that cost is. The risk of building one of these facilities and then not doing enough cars or not having enough business to make it is enormous now. And so every time we get another thing that comes against us, we have to think to ourselves, is this a smart investment? That left in was a big blow, and we're asking you, please don't throw anything else at us. We have proven we can manage shutting off that left turn. We have a plan that eliminates the traffic backing up on the Roselle Road, because we've been doing it in Aurora for years. We can close off that and force the people that want to come in to go around Nergy Road. There's no way we're going to back up all the way to Nergy Road. That's just too long of a process. So the idea of using public services to control traffic there is not going to be a problem. The left out is by no means the most difficult left out we make in the village or and, or in any other suburban area. This is not that hard of a left turn, but when we're busy and we have that many cars coming out, we'll shut it off, as we've proven we do. So we ask you just, please take into consideration our track record with the village and the sacrifices we've made, the relationship we've had with the village. Please consider this. We wouldn't ask for it if it wasn't important. Convenience in car washing is extremely important. And you have my word, it will only happen. They will only be allowed to turn left when there is no danger in doing so on our slowest times, which unfortunately for car washing, that's a lot of times. Thank you for considering us today. We really appreciate it. We really want to move forward with your city. We love being a part of your community. And hopefully that you see us, that we've been good. We've been good.
Yeah, and I want to be very clear. I think the way you operate your current site is very good, and I can attest you have taken pride in your property maintenance of it, so that's not at fault at all. I think this is just a very unique or odd property, I think, in that sense, and I think we have to take that into consideration for the public good. One question I just have for you, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. So is JetBrite, I've seen the news about they filed for bankruptcy. Is it a franchise? Are you a sole owner? And so like, is that just debt restructuring? Like, I think we just want to.
Yeah, no, well, I can tell you this, it'll have no concern whatsoever of what's going on here in Chicago. Unfortunately, in 2022, we partnered with private equity. Okay, so we're partnered. Now, we own the land. Okay, so that's not, like, we're building this building. This is my money. 100%. So when we say that we're going to spend extra money to make sure that there's no sound or a wall that goes up or the building's going to be this, it's my money alone. And we will always own this car wash. We will always own this property, and it'll always be a car wash, and it'll always be maintained. Okay. From an operational standpoint, in order to compete with the big boys and the monthly plans, we partnered with private equity back in 2022, and that private equity group also owns car washes all over the country under the name Zips Car Washes. We don't brand Zips here. We're JetBrite. We'll stay JetBrite, and we'll continue to be JetBrite. And JetBrite's been extremely successful. As you can see, the volumes of cars we do in our site. But unfortunately, Zips hasn't in all their markets, and some of their markets have won very poorly as a result. But these aren't, if you look at these car washes, they're not like the JetBrite car washes. 1.5-acre sites, 180-foot buildings. They're, 90-foot buildings on a quarter-acre site or half-acre sites and on secondary streets, and just, it was poorly done. Unfortunately, so they filed bankruptcy to clean up clean up their balance sheet in regard to that. But that bankruptcy has no effect on.
But you own these outright yourself. They don't have a stake, so that they couldn't use those as assets that they would liquidate.
No. Yeah, even the ones that we don't own, they sold out to the REITs. And Zips Car Wash, which is what filed bankruptcy, they have no properties that they own.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. It's just an operating company, and it's just a way of renegotiating their leases. That's all it is.
Thank you.
You own this property?
Yeah, this property I own.
Okay, just two quick questions, just so I can get my head straight.
Yes.
So you say that you're going to lose 25% of your business without having a left turn?
I didn't say that. No, we said that 25% of our customers will want to use that left turn. Will want to make that left turn.
So otherwise, they'll go around and find the other way in, or the other.
Yeah, the bigger blow was the left in. That hurts us.
And
that hurts.
that percentage is it 25%?
It's hard to say, but I would guess that not, because if the Nergy Road entrance was after the car was south of the Roselle Road entrance, then it wouldn't hurt us that much, that left in, but the fact that once they realize they can't turn left into us on Roselle Road, they've already passed Nergy Road as they're heading south. So they're gone. Now, hopefully tomorrow they'll remember they got to turn on Nergy to get into us. Over time, over a 3-4 year period, we'll overcome that. And that's what we believe. That's why we chose to go forward with the project after the county denied us the left in. It's just
the other thing, just
a hurt.
I don't know your business.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thing about it.
Yeah.
You say that like 5% of your time you'll have business, and then the other 95% there will be hardly anybody.
It's
how does it work that way? How
well,
do you
okay.
make money that way?
That's the point. That is absolutely my point. We need to make money during our slower times. And that's why we don't want to limit this left out, because we want to make it convenient for all our customers to come during those slower times. This is the best time to come. You're not restricted. Now, on that 5% of the time when there's salt on a car, everybody wants to get in. When we cut off that left turn, they're going to get angry. But on those days, customers understand. They see the lines. They see what's happening. They're more understanding. They're more forgiving to us to deny them things on those days. But if it was a day in, day out thing, we want to get our customers to come when it's not so busy.
That's what we're trying. That's the key.
It was 35 degrees and I couldn't get into your car wash, so I did it on my driveway. It froze my butt off, but
It was worth it.
I wasn't gonna wait in line.
Are there other
I don't
comments?
blame you, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Are there other comments or questions from the board, Lee?
Just a question too, because I think one of you guys mentioned like Cook County taking a look at this left turn in, and then I think there was a mention about a left turn out. So is there some sort of documentation from them? I think someone said like you have verbal approval from Cook County to make a left out.
It was, and the cities will, the staff will.
Yeah. Kieran, do you want to speak to that?
It was the county that said, we're going to take away the left in, but we'll give you the left out. But Karen, please.
So there's a left out onto Nergy Road, so there's a full access, left and right in, left and right out. The county, did not allow a left out of this site on Roselle Road. Left in, you're right, I'm sorry.
Coming,
Gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, so coming south on Roselle Road, you cannot turn left into the site, and that was a county decision. We have that in writing. We cannot be less stringent than the county, but we can be more stringent than the county's decision about access.
But left out, what did they say? The county said.
They approved the left out.
Other questions or comments? So I wanted to go around. So as far as it goes with the left out, is the proposal included in the packet satisfactory for the board, or is there additional work that needs to be done for the board to consider a formal approval later on? So we'll start with Lee.
So after hearing some more of the commentary, I'm leaning towards more being okay with the left out, but I mean, the left out on Lake Street, I mean, Lake Street's way busier than Roselle Road. I think it would be helpful to maybe have some sort of enforcement mechanism though, if we do have a problem, whether it's like requiring them to pay for police to maintain traffic there, similar to special events that we have, if they're not doing, their end of the bargain. Outside of that, I think I could be supportive of it with the other, 7 PM and the sim tech and that kind of thing.
Okay. So other thoughts on the left out as proposed? Trustee Prokowski?
For that Shell gas station, do we have left out there?
No, we do not.
So this would kind of be in line with the other businesses there?
Rosario's and the Shell do not have a left out. So this would be the only business. Really, it's in between two businesses that do not have a left out.
Okay.
And I would probably venture to say Rosario's probably has less traffic. But Domke?
Let's not forget Rosario's. How does this business impact Rosario's that has the corner lot on Nergy and Roselle Road?
Are you asking me? Or-
Yeah, whoever.
Well, first of all, we surround it, but we don't interact with their parking lot. So we shouldn't have any impact on all. No, but I'll tell you this, activity breeds activity. And one thing that we have been is very successful. And, the fact that we draw customers from big base, okay? And obviously we're going to be pulling from other cities. We're going to be pulling from Schaumburg and other towns as well. And bringing all of our cars moving at a very slow speed through our parking lot, across our lot, hundreds a day, will only help their business in a great way. And I can tell you that every neighbor we've ever had has seen not just a slight, but significant increase in their retail sales, whether it's a restaurant or a men's suit store, as a result of our presence, sharing a parking lot or a curb cut with them.
So I've got one in favor with some additional reinforcement mechanisms, but wanting to get, because I think this is the key point, is the left turn on Roselle Road is the kind of key component. So I'm going to start to take since someone's going to volunteer, I'm just going to go down.
You're going to
So, yeah, so I should help on
I still can't get behind the left-hand turn out of there.
Okay. Trustee Domke?
I'm unresolved at this time.
Okay. Is there anything you would need to help you be more resolved so I can just keep a list for staff?
I have to contemplate, what I've heard tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why we're doing this in new business. And I think out of courtesy to you guys, we don't want you to spend money to go through and notifications and stuff like that if we don't have the right answers here and understand what works for you or not. So, so I've got one yes, one no, one undecided. Cheryl?
It's the yes, but again, just like trustee Trejo, I'd want to see how we are going to enforce that left turn.
Trustee Forsythe?
I'm with Tom Delapenna on this one. I don't think that we can do the left-hand turn, and I'm not in, I don't agree with the setup. I'm sorry.
Okay. Trustee Prokowski?
I'm in agreement with trustees Forsythe and Delapenna.
Okay. Given that we've got 2 that are yes with some additional things, 1 maybe, and 3 no, I would probably side with the no as well. I think it's a little bit hard for me when we've got 2 other businesses that do not have that same privilege, so that would be very difficult to go and talk to those businesses and justify that. So I think from my standpoint, I want to give Trustee Dompe some time as well to think about it, but I think for right now, we'll sit with that for right now, and then we can kind of regroup with the petitioner, as well as if there's any additional questions that come up from the board between now and then, we can address those offline, so.
May I make, first of all, thank you so much. I mean, this is great to have, feedback and to hear your comments and this and that. But would you allow us to work with staff a little bit?
Yeah, I think we still want
To make some changes
Conversations
to our
still-
site plan, and I know you asked for enforcement or some more guarantees that what we say would happen. If we can work with staff and try to make this a little better, a little easier, a little safer, would you be open to reconsidering?
No final action was taken, so that's what I was gonna say, is like this, we did this intentionally
that.
because knowing your time is money and we don't want to put people through additional revisions if they don't want to. So we did this intentionally to make sure that we could get you the feedback from the board. If you should have different revisions that staff approves, those can come to us at another time to discuss fully. So, it's not, we didn't take any official votes. This was just simply giving staff direction on what the board would do. So that way you as a petitioner can have that feedback ahead of time before you do something, and staff knows, so you guys can best work. So you guys are more than free to kind of continue to revise the site plan. So, we can maybe make a deal. So I know we fly through a lot of things, but that's because we do a lot of work in advance to get to that point earlier. So that's, the sausage gets made during new business. So we appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything else that staff needs on this item? Okay, well, that concludes our 1 new business item. We do have a second opportunity for public comments. Is there any members of the public that wish to address the board at this time? Let the record show none. Is there any other business for discussion only? Seeing none from other business, I would like to entertain a motion to convene executive session for the purposes to discuss real property, as well as litigation. No final action will be taken, and we will be adjourning from executive session. Is there a motion? Thank you. Is there a second? Any discussion? No. Can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Trejo. Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Forsythe. Aye. Mr.